right, now we're official.
Cool.
Happy 420, man.
Definitely happy 420. I hope you're celebrating, and I hope everyone who does partake in the cannabis day enjoys their day.
Yes, I did. I took like a little puff today. I can't smoke as much as I used to. I just fall asleep. It's like as I get older, it's just like NyQuil. I do love it at night sometimes. I'll use it to wind down. But it knocks me on my butt nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for us too, is I can only have little bits because, taking care of my son and everything like that. I always have to be ready and
Oh
aware
yeah.
for anything that's going to happen. So it's always just like little bits. I have a little mini bong, drop a
That's
little nug in
awesome.
there, take one or two hits, Jenny and I, just to take the stress off, just to relax, just to unwind. And then, like you said, at night too, it's a good thing too. Sometimes just to calm the mind down to help you sleep.
Yes. I think there's nothing better, like just taking a puff of indica or whatever, is the best sleep aid in the history of anything.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
Weed is the greatest thing of all time. And I know it's funny because I totally forgot last time I went to the weed store. They gave me this flyer and I saw it on my fridge. Today is like Black Friday of all the weed stores. Everything's like 50%
Oh,
off, 50% off. Um, yeah. And you're in New Jersey. Do you guys have legalized dispensaries?
I think we went legal a year or two ago, and I think they're still getting it figured out. I actually just saw something that they're looking to shut down, I think, New Jersey's biggest dispensary because of something. I don't think they wanted it. I think again it was a political thing, somebody looking for votes or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it came in, and as soon as it came in, and we know too from my son, he has a medical marijuana card, and we get it
Nice.
for him. And in the beginning, it was just so difficult. Just for medical patients, it was so difficult. Things are getting better. Things are getting more relaxed. There are a lot more stores popping up, but I think that they're just being um like ridiculously strict, which they have to be, because we've heard the stories about like New York. I know New York, they've tested a lot of the weed that you get in the stores over there, and they
Yeah.
said some of it is really junk.
Oh, I bet. That's so sad. Some of the stuff I see
Yeah.
in LA and Portland they have that same problem. I think it's just with cities because you're trying to grow. It's like you're trying to open like an orange store in like New York City and you're just growing the oranges yourself. It's like
Yeah.
um, some of it's terrible. You could do a funny
Yeah.
sketch on New Jersey dispensaries being just run by the mafia. I'm sure
Oh.
they're all sopranoed out. The bada boom,
Everything in
bada
New
bong.
Jersey is bada boom, bada bong. Very good. That's a good one. Hey,
Yeah,
speaking of the good jokes, how's the comedy going?
you can hear my cat back here. It's go. I sound so cliche because I sound like such one of those. I just converted to like a born again Christian or whatever, but I'm totally hooked. I got bit by the
Yes.
bug, so bad. I've said it a million times. I love politics growing up. Was totally obsessed with it. As a kid, I would watch cartoons, but I would more watch like C-SPAN and CNN, and my parents were just like, "You're a weirdo." I just was obsessed with geopolitics. I could not with domestic politics, international politics, war, how militaries interact globally. I was just a weird kid, but I always thought I don't know how to get from one side of it being like behind the scenes. I never felt like I could do in front of the scenes because I had such bad stage fright. I would just feel it never bothered me during like when I never think about it much. I just thought I'm one of those people who would never be on a stage. I like behind the scenes, whatever. And then just after trying it in the last month or so, yeah, last couple of weeks, I don't know what it is. I just got hooked. It's like I never played golf or did a solid, I guess maybe skateboarding, where it's just you against yourself. Like it's just this
Yes.
unending sense of wanting to improve yourself. And I grew up loving that stuff. Like I was more like Seinfeld, Johnny Carson, just the kind of
Yeah.
a pretty milk toast, Coca-Cola, whatever, boring comedy guy. But like Richard Pryor, I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
I just
you
always
said
wanted to be
something.
behind the scenes, but yeah, I don't.
You said something very interesting in your post today about doing comedy and about how many friends you've made just in the past couple of weeks as compared to the past couple of years. And that's something that I find is very true. Once you start hitting that open mic circuit, you're going to come across some of the greatest people.
Yes.
It's an interesting, I guess eclectic is possibly a word you can use. It's an interesting bunch of people that they all have a different story. They're all trying to convey it in the form of humor in their way. And they're all, we're all kind of learning from each other, all kind of sharing, um,
Yes.
and just trying to laugh.
Yeah.
So that's an immediate bond. That's an immediate bond with someone.
You're 100% right. I I've been fascinated by it. Because yeah, I've always been on the business side, and I would once in a while go to live stuff, but not really. I was just like, I'll just watch the tape, just call the agent and get the whatever. I never went to stuff, and yeah, going to these open mics, every time I go, I feel like you meet three or four of the most interesting people you've ever met. Um, it's young to old, it's fascinating, and everyone's, yeah, I love it. It's like music in the sense of, I always liked music so much, of just seeing the bands, like their style, their tone, their story, their sound, all that, is always such an interesting reflection of humanity. And yeah, comedy, it's even more so at these open mics. I always think of it as like the Star Wars, like that Mos Eisley cantina, the do, when you walk in.
Yes.
But it's just they're doing an open mic, and it's fascinating. Yeah, it's like everyone's from a different planet and has their own language. And I can't get enough. I love, yeah, as I said before, like Johnny Carson, Seinfeld, those guys. And so I feel so boring. But watching them, yeah, I can't get enough. A lot of times I don't even feel like I need to go up at the open mics. I kind of sometimes feel like I could just watch it. It's like going to a baseball game. Um,
You said something else very interesting there too. Like you said, it's all ages, it's all different backgrounds of people. And the thing that I love about open mics, and I want to ask you if you've seen this yet too. A lot of the people there, not all of them, are aspiring to be comedians to get up on stage. Some of the people that go to open mics are just doing it to fulfill a bucket list thing, or doing it
yes,
as a form of therapy that
yes,
they may not wanting to go on. Some people just go. I've been to some wonderful open mics, and a lot of people, you may not understand what someone may get up on stage and do. Comedy is an art form, and it's in a lot of different ways. I've seen people get up on stage and do some wild things, some like Andy Kaufman style. Like, is that comedy? Like, what is that? But it's
yeah.
their form, and it's inspiring. And like you said, it's wonderful to see. I've been at open mics with some very old people and some very young people, and like I said, just sitting there is just wonderful in itself.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. It's hearing everyone's story. I always think of it's like superheroes or supervillains. Like in our world, we don't really have that. But I think since we don't, people become, instead of superheroes or supervillains, super funny. It sounds cheesy, but
Yes.
they all have an origin story. It's like when people win the Super Bowl, I think it's like, this really good thing happened. What do you do? And they're like, I'm going to go to Disneyland. And with stand up, it's like, this terrible, horrible thing happened. What are you going to do? And they're like, I'm going to do an open mic. I'm going to
There
go
you
and
go.
try to get laughs out of this. And I love it. Yeah, it's fascinating. Um, I'm totally hooked. Yeah, I went last night and did one at the biggest. There was nobody there in terms of people. It's just a couple of other open micers, but the room itself was massive. It was the largest room I played in, with like a
Mm.
big stage. And it was cool, but it was no one really there. But I did terrible, and I just couldn't. I still hadn't figured out. I was less nervous, but I just kind of rambled through my 5 minute set really fast just to get through it, because just like a couple comics we're just like there but just on their phone, just checked out, whatever, it's fine, it's just life. But I couldn't figure out, like, what do I do in this situation. I feel not as nervous, but I don't know what to do now. And I watched this YouTube video. I think his name is Greg Dean. I don't know if you know. he
Sounds familiar.
teaches he teaches stand up on YouTube. And he has just these like 2 to 3 minute little soundbite videos, like, oh, if you're at an open mic and this happens, this is what you should do. And the first one I saw when I pulled it up was like, if you're playing a big room and no one's there and it's a dead whatever for an open mic. And uh it was great. He was just kind of like, you should make it more for yourself and just rant and talking to
Yes.
yourself. And It totally, yeah, it was again, I was just like, I can't get enough of this subject matter or doing it of stand up. It's just so fascinating. There's always more to learn, but
You
yeah, I'm rambling.
You
Sorry.
should always, no, you should always make it about you. That's a key thing. Always make it about you. When I was preparing for one of the things that I was going to be doing at Caroline's, a big stage, I was
Wow.
doing a
Okay.
couple of open mics, and like you said, I was doing an open mic at one place, and there was absolutely nobody there, and I was like, I really need to know how this material is because I'm going to be doing it at Caroline's, and I was like, and I was just like, I was going to get up there and I was just going to do my set just to do it. And I was like, no, wait a second. I'm going to get up here and I'm going to do it to this completely empty room like it was a full house at a big place, at Caroline's or any other place. You should still act it this way. When you do it every time, it just becomes muscle memory. And don't
Yes.
do it the same. Just have that was a key thing. Just have fun with it. Be a little more active, be a little more fluid. Try something that maybe you normally haven't. And another thing that I'm going to correct you on is when you said you did terrible last night. I'm going to keep correcting you on that. Stop saying that.
I
You
know.
got up there. You did better. You're learning each, like you said, each time is going to get 1% better, and that's the most important thing. You're learning from that mic and that stage every time, whether it's for one person or 1,000 people. You're going to learn and get better.
No, that's true. Thank you for saying that. I think it's one of the reasons I love Jon Stewart so much, is he's so hard on
Ah, yeah.
himself. He's just beats himself. I'm like, I totally get that. It's just natural. But I did do terrible. It was no, but in a good way. All the things you're saying, I learned. And for the first time, I was like, I'm not nervous. I just it sounds so nasally right now. Sorry, my allergies. But I was like, I'm not nervous. I don't feel like I'm gonna break out in a cold sweat. I just don't know what to do now. And like this guy was saying, he's like, you could, like you were saying, he's like, you could do your set, you could practice it, get it down, or you could just say, I'm gonna do this for myself because no one's listening. So when I leave, I'm like, I had fun. That was awesome. Whatever. There's, you're not looking for laughs and just getting silence and then beating yourself up, whatever. So it's like you could just rant about the day or talk about stuff. And I was like, yeah, I could have ranted about the UFO hearings. I don't know if you watched. They were short and there wasn't a lot going on. Like Kristen Gillibrand is awesome, your senator, I should say Gillibrand. But there was that short video. I don't know if you checked that out. I sent you. It's like three
Yes.
seconds they released. But it was kind of underwhelming. I was like, I should have just ranted about that, but instead it was almost like a high school speech class. I was like, I'm just gonna do my 5 minutes of blah blah.
So now, what are your thoughts on these hearings? Because basically, I've been doing just like the
Yes.
quick catch up, seeing what's going on, and from what I'm gathering, once again, it's our government going. There's something there. We can't explain what it is. We don't know what it is, but we're going to say it's not alien. Well, if you can't say what it is, then you can't say it's not alien either. It's
Yeah, and that's I sound so nasally. Sorry. I wonder still, yeah, why it just yeah, it makes me wonder at the end of the day, why are they just so weird about it and paranoid and they don't want to talk about it? And it makes me think they either just have no idea what's going on. They had this guy come out, Sean Kirkpatrick, who's the head of AARO. It's like AARO, Aerial Anomaly Resolution Office. I sound terrible here, sorry. But it was just him out there and he's got some slides and he showed the 3 second video. And the whole time he was kind of like, I have a small staff and we're going through thousands of reports and a couple of hundred here are anomalous. We do not know what they are. They could be whatever, but they're definitely not alien, but we don't know what they are. And my staff is small and
I,
it's taking forever. So it could be like Men in Black, where then he leaves and goes to a secret, government layer and they have 10,000 people working on this with technology we've never seen, and they're just talking to aliens, or it really is like that. But it would make me sad if there really is. Sorry, I sound terrible. My allergies, of course, kicking in. But if there really are not a lot of people working on this, because again, to me, it seems like if we're spending $1 trillion a year on our military and everybody, like the rest of the country is not doing so great. And I love the military, but if they're spending that kind of money and not spending vast amounts of resources to try to look into this, it seems crazy to me because you could leapfrog stuff by light years in terms of physics or science, propulsion, energy, in terms of how these craft work, who they are, where they're from. Like it just, I think we could get so much information, everything we're trying to do with the world right now. Like we could leapfrog human ambition by so much, but if it's just, yeah, like 10 guys who are like making minimum wage, it's so strange to me. Um, I don't know.
But
Sorry, I'm going off. That
will
weed
no,
is
no,
kicking in.
no, no. But will we ever know the truth? And do they want us? I mean, of course, listen, there's Area 51. There's some secretive stuff going on there. There's so many stories, and especially now with today's technology and everyone basically having a video camera at their access at all times, there's
Yeah.
so much video out there, but yet there's still so much denial, or it's a weather balloon, or it's this, or it's a reflection off of something. And then there are the ones that they just can't explain. But it's to go back to something that you kind of touched on too, the technology that would be learned from everything that we could gather from them. I think that's a scary thing, because I don't think we as a society, as a world, want to collectively get that information. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
think you
Agreed.
look at the world that we're in, I think each country wants it. And I think they want to have the individual power, whether it's for good, bad, ugly, or whatever.
Yes.
And that's a scary thing, is that the world doesn't want to seem to get together and connect with these aliens, whatever you want to call them. Again, it seems to be a fight for which country, who can get the technology, who can use it for a weapon, who can use it for
Yes.
for whatever they want to use it for. That's scary. That's the only thing that's scary about aliens to me.
Yes.
My gut feeling
Agreed.
is when they do come here, or if they are here, I do believe that they would want to help us. I do believe that they would see that we are a being, a race, whatever you want to call us, that's in peril. I mean, this we're destroying everything.
We are. And I wonder, I mean, yeah, everything you said, I think is 100% correct. And I think if the military does have a lot of people working on this, that is why they would want to keep it secret.
Yeah,
And why they would not want to tell everything you said is 100% correct. And why they would want to make it seem like, yeah, that they're just not really paying attention to it. But also, it worried me a little bit because it was Gillibrand, who's a Democrat. And before, a lot of this stuff has been seeming to me, it seemed like it was bipartisan. It was a lot of Democrat Republicans on the same page, which I thought was really cool and a breath of fresh air. But then Joni Ernst was there, who's a Republican. And just real quick, I think only like they were the only two big ones there out of like eight that senators that could have been there, only two showed up. So it's
uh,
like, that's okay, whatever. And Joni Ernst, kind of the whole time, is just a Republican. You could sort of see him drawing party lines. She was like, well, just couldn't this be just Russians? Couldn't just this be Chinese? It doesn't have to be UFOs. Like, just trying, you could see just trying to shut down that narrative. Um, and I kept thinking, like, why do you care? What's the big, But I think, and I don't want to sound like I sound like such a nasally allergy conspiracy theorist. I don't want to sound like a total nutter, but I think, oil plays into it. It's oil is so lucrative. You just look at it mathematically. America goes through 20 million barrels a day.
yeah,
Um, it's crazy amount of money at like 50 to 100 dollars a barrel.
yeah,
It's just billions every year. And then you would times that by what, like five or six or seven globally. It's just
yeah,
crazy. It's just trillions of dollars. And I think if you have these craft that can do these things, that can go insane speeds, go vast distances, and not require gasoline, whatever's in there, you could power like, states with one engine, it would
yeah,
radically,
yeah.
it would change everything. And so I wonder if
Well,
that's some of it's economic. It's probably a lot of stuff.
well, those in power definitely want to stay in power, and they would have a reason to keep the power and not let us, the little people, in on their secrets.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like corporations would like to keep it under wraps for their reasons. Government, like, yeah, I think everyone involved had their reason for wanting to keep it just secret, or that, because for most of it, also not even secret, but just that it didn't exist for most of
Yeah,
American history. For 99% of it, it was just like, oh, it's nonsense. There's nothing there. It's just made up. It's just whatever. And now just what to 2017, once there were those first New York Times articles that broke, that was the first time the government sort of was on record saying this is legit.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the SpaceX rocket explode today? It was cool and sad.
Yeah,
Same time.
yeah, exactly. It's interesting because you see an explosion and you think, oh, but yet they're looking at it as they learned a lot of good stuff from it, and I guess that's the takeaway, is that the information that they got from that explosion was all good stuff. So,
Yeah, they do
I'm
seem
not a
to.
rocket scientist.
Yeah, me either. They do seem to turn it around fast when they get crashes. They figured out they're sort of the
Yeah,
opposite of NASA. That thing was massive, though. I can't wait. I'm
yeah,
going to the moon. I'm going to space, no matter what. That's my. And that doesn't even sound that crazy. William Shatner has been there. That's crazy to think
yeah.
about. The guy who
No,
played. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Your voice sounds so
no,
professional. I sound like a 15-year-old kid talking through a kazoo here. I'm like, rah, rah, rah.
no. Trust
It's
me,
been
I'm
raining
dealing
and
with
it's
my
so sunny
allergies over
today.
here.
Yeah,
Uh,
you sound like Walter
Yeah,
Cronkite.
allergy season is bad.
This year it's going to be
I feel like his
terrible.
age. Yeah, it
It,
is really bad this year. Local honey, though, if anybody out there is listening and you're suffering, if you can find locally farmed honey, the bees collect the pollen in your area, and it does make a big difference. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience on that. Local honey helps your allergies.
oh, that's awesome. I wonder if LA
Mhm.
has local honey, Venice honey,
You pretty much can
Como
find
honey.
local honey anywhere. Yeah, even if you go on Amazon and you Google local honey, they'll find the closest farm to you, and you can actually just get it from there.
Wow, that's awesome. You know your stuff. You know
Yeah.
your honey stuff.
Well,
You
I
should
never
merch
had
that.
allergies. And I just started allergies a couple of years ago, and each year it gets worse and worse. And I just found out about that. Like I said, just a spoonful of honey and some hot water, and you just drink it down in the morning, and it definitely helps.
That's awesome. I just drink Pepsi in the morning. It's bad. I got to start drinking normal stuff. Have you played with Chat GPT at all? I was going to ask you that.
No, not enough. Not enough. My daughter's been doing so much AI stuff, and we've been doing a lot of like other AI stuff. And again, it's so interesting to us here in this house, and just the conversations we have. That's going to be next chance that we actually get to sit down and do something together. We're definitely going to be doing that more.
That's awesome. And your show is blowing up on YouTube. You have so many subscribers now and viewers. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're just having fun, and again, I think that's the most important thing. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I want to thank you. You've been an inspiration, because it is hard. It is difficult. And I know, like, even with you two, you and I are pretty much the same type of person. You want to do this, it gets frustrating, it gets tiring. You can easily come up with excuses, but the bottom line
Yeah.
is just do it. And again,
Yes.
it's like the open mic, the podcast. If there's one person, if there's 100 people paying attention, it's for you. It's do it for
Yes.
you because you feel good about it. Put your energy, put what you put out there, and eventually it'll connect to the right people. And that's all you just got to keep doing it. And
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
thank you for that inspiration, for you getting up on the open mic, for you getting doing this. You've
Oh, of
been an
course,
inspiration to
man.
me. So thank you.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah, right back at you. I mean, it was, I never thought I would try to get up there and get on stage, and it's so fun. And I don't even really want to I don't want to get famous. I think that would be terrible. I think, like, I worked retail. I think I might have said this before. And yeah, I think it would be like always being at work. Like, people would always want to talk to you, and you would have to be nice to everybody. And that would be like a living hell for me. Uh I would not like that at all. Yeah, I kind of like being just terrible and having no. I feel like it's something I can kind of age into. I found that there's cruise ships. There's like these cruise lines and comedians, not the big fancy ones, but just like more of, I guess, the whatever. I want to go on fancy stuff, but they can get these gigs where they'll just go out to sea.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'll just do that for like 10 years, 15 years until Social Security kicks
Yeah.
in, and then I'm set. My goals are so low. Yeah, I have a
That's a
it's awesome.
wonderful goal. That is not a low goal. That's just spend your time on a cruise ship getting paid and just yeah, making people laugh.
Yeah, I talked to one kid at an open mic. I was telling him that, and he was like, "Oh, I worked at a management company. We did that for our clients." And he was like, "Some of them are the fancy ones. We're making like 400 grand a year." I was like, I'll never be that qualified,
Wow.
but I'll do like
Wow.
30
That's
grand version. It'll be just like Deadliest Catch. So people on a
jeez. And then
fishing
of course
boat.
free room and board, and I'm sure the food's free. So that's a good life right there.
Yeah, I think it'd be amazing if I could. I sound so nasally. It sucks. I feel so clogged right now. If I could smoke weed and play video games and just have access to the internet and then live on a cruise ship and get paid and have that be like my 60s, that would be the greatest thing of all time. Um, that's the way to
Well,
retire, I think.
it is 420, so that's go smoke some up and live that dream. That's
I, I will. I will. I'm gonna. I took the day off today. I'm like, I'm just gonna do nothing. I did like 7 open mics in a row, um, and so I'm just
good
exhausted.
for you.
Yeah,
Good
I've
for
been.
you. Yeah,
They say on the internet, they say these teacher guys on YouTube, they say there's no substitute for stage time. You just have to do it over and over, and they just wanted to kill that stage fright.
absolutely. That's like I said, that's what I've learned from some of the great comedians that I've worked with, and it comes down to the if you want to learn anything, the mic. That's the answer to any question you have about comedy. How do I do this? What do I do? When should I? The mic is your answer. You have to be up there. You have to be standing in front of it, and you have to do it. And you're going to learn. You're going to learn from your mistakes. Don't use the term terrible again. It's you didn't do terrible.
That's gonna
You're
be the name
learning.
of my first stand-up album. I'm terrible.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, no,
just keep
it's
laughing.
I love it. I think it's just where else can it's like I'm either gonna be crazy guy at the bus stop talking about UFOs, or I'll just get open mics and do it. It's that's great.
That's a
Well,
good
no,
future.
yeah, exactly. My goals are tiny. Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. This was awesome. I sound like such a nasally surfer, but we'll have to do another one. Um, yeah, the guy I was supposed to have on, he's like a UFO guy, and he said he burst his eardrums. I was like,
Ah, oof, that's no fun.
yeah, I can't wait to hear.
Well,
Maybe it was
listen,
from a UFO.
Colin, anytime, anything you ever need, you just reach out. And again, like you said, I'm grateful to you. And this is what we do. We help each other out. That's what humans do, and that's what hopefully aliens will do too. We'll all just help each other out.
Yeah, I hope they don't just eat us because, like you're saying, we messed up the planet so bad. They're just gonna be like,
Well,
we're gonna move in
well,
now.
see, I don't mean to put you in a position. I don't mean to make you feel bad. But the thing is, though, is I kind of think that I would be much less edible than you with all my hair. I mean, they would look at me and they'd be like, "I don't want that in my mouth. I got this crazy hair. I got this beard. I got
It's
you.
true.
Maybe easier.
They would
It's.
have to
I'm
shave you
hoping that
first.
my
Jeffrey Dahmer, he did say in an interview that he tried to eat someone with a bunch of tattoos, and he was like, it was disgusting. It was like a big pen. He was like, I would never do it again. I was like, yes, I'll be
so
safe.
so there you go. So
Yeah,
tattoos and beards. They could save us from being eaten. All right, there we
putting
go.
that on my resume. Well, dude, have a great 420. Tell your fam I say what up, and yeah, man, thank you so much.
Always, Colin. Thank you so much, man.